Your Excellency, Rabbonim, my lords, ladies and gentlemen, I am so proud of World Jewish Relief. I am proud of all that we do, and I am so proud of all of you in this magnificent room and of our other supporters who cannot be with us this evening. And the reason for that pride is that with your generosity, WJR has made a difference, a measurable difference, a real difference in the lives of hundreds of thousands of people. Your generosity, your commitment has made that difference for the last 81 years, since WJR came into existence in 1933 as the Central British Fund for German Jewry. And there is an unbroken chain between CBF's activities then and all that we do today. 81 years of a journey intended to make a difference in people's lives. This year, I made 2 significant journeys which taught me more about what we do and have driven me to make sure that we do even more. In September, I went to Kharkiv in eastern Ukraine, a city well known to us through the Jewish Community Center, which we opened in 2011. I was present at that opening, but to see the center as it is now, full, busy, doing even more than we had hoped it would, with children from a few months old through to those in their 90s, filled my heart with joy and pride. As 88-year-old Holocaust survivor Dr. Vashez said to me when asked about the difference the center had made to her life, the JCC is a reason for me to live. We visited Elsa, 89-year-old Elsa, in her home, now with heating and windows that fit and mobility aids to help her with her many physical disabilities. Elsa's different from almost all of the Jewish community there. She's frum, the daughter of a rabbi and the granddaughter of a rabbi, and many of her family, including her grandparents, were murdered by the Nazis at the ravines of Drobitsky Yar, just outside Kiev, not as well known as Babi Yar outside Kiev. Sorry, Drobitsky Yar is outside Kharkiv. Not as well known as Babi Yar outside Kiev, but almost as large a killing field. She survived, became a teacher, then a guide at the synagogue, until age and ill health made her stop. She has a small pension from her teaching, but simply could not survive without the help that you enable us to give her. She's not unique, but what a difference you and WJR have made in her life. Life is very hard in Ukraine, as you've heard, but I felt incredibly sad to hear her hark back nostalgically to the days of the Soviet Union, when, as she put it, there was no rampant price inflation and people felt safe. It was very emotional and actually quite horrifying to meet present-day refugees during our visit. The Jewish community in Kharkiv has identified some 600 Jewish IDPs, internally displaced persons, as refugees are called if they've moved within their own countries. We met about 30 of them at the Jewish Community Center. And these are people who'd fled from the Donetsk and Lugansk regions, not far from Kharkiv, since early summer when fighting broke out. They fled in the clothes they were wearing, summer clothes. And when it's summer in Ukraine, it's hot. It's now winter. It's cold. And these IDPs need our help. Their stories were chilling, fleeing gunfire, shelling, bombing, and on occasions personal attacks. And who would have thought that this could have happened in 21st century Europe? But it has. And to hear Roxanne from Donetsk say to us that the only help she'd had is from us really says all that needs to be said about our work in Ukraine. I said I'd made 2 significant journeys this year. The other was to Rwanda in April to represent Beth Shalom, the UK National Holocaust Center, at the events to mark the 20th anniversary of the genocide. And whilst I was there, I visited one of WJR's projects in eastern Rwanda. When anyone says to me, why is World Jewish Relief supporting a project in Rwanda, I'm now even better equipped to give them an answer than I was before. CBF was set up to help refugees from Europe and then work with refugees and survivors of the Holocaust after the war and continuing now. As Jews, we understand what it means to be the target of hatred and persecution. We therefore have a responsibility to help victims of other genocides. In Rwanda, we work with survivors of the Rwandan genocide, the genocide which has come the closest to the Shoah, the genocide in which, in 100 days in 1994, over 800,000 Tutsis were murdered by members of the ruling Hutus. I met some of the survivors whose lives we have helped to rebuild. I was humbled to meet 32-year-old Theogene, whose parents and almost all his siblings were macheted to death in their home in April 1994, some 10 days after the killings began. He was only 12 at the time and managed to escape with two much younger brothers. He later reclaimed his family stallholding and through our project has moved from subsistence farming to become its most successful graduate. He has learned successfully to plant maize, cassava, and watermelons, and WJR has enabled him to support his younger brothers through their education and given him back his life. When I asked him how he saw his future, he replied that he hopes soon to be able to buy 2 cows and one day even to take a wife. Without WJR, Theogene and the other 200 survivors who have so far been through this program could not have embarked on the journey of rebuilding their lives. We have made a huge difference. I was privileged to meet many of them at the memorial meeting they had to mark the 20th anniversary of the genocide. Their gratitude is truly immense, and I believe I succeeded in explaining to them why Jews thousands of miles away want to help them. They seem to relate to the story of my father's family, the stories of so many in this room tonight. And being able to say to them that my grandparents, uncles, aunts, and cousins were massacred for no reason other than that they were Jews got through to them because their parents, grandparents, brothers, and sisters were massacred for no reason other than that they were Tutsi. Ukraine and Rwanda, 2 journeys connected by a common thread. There is an unbreakable chain between what CBF began in 1933 and what WJR continues in 2014. We are there to make a difference in people's lives. With your help and understanding of why we do what we do, we can make an even bigger difference in the lives of even more people in the years ahead. Thank you very much.